why is it that some people can't have a local harvest, or why wouldn't it thrive? And it was saying that basically, or the point that it was trying to prove is that some climates and some areas can't cultivate those seeds. And so if it's wintertime where I live all the time and I'm planting these seeds that will not grow, then it's pointless, right? So like you said, when you mentioned about maybe planting in the wrong areas, well, this is where the confusion comes, because we want to ask God, like, hey, where should I be planting? Or give us some discernment to know where will these seeds reap a good harvest, what you have for us and what you designated for us, because otherwise the seeds go to waste. It's in the wrong climate and we're wasting.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Theodore Campbell, and this is Bianca. Said we both we're a little rusty because we took some time off, but we part of Unadulterated. So we just want to do another topic real quick. And this topic we're going to talk about tonight is you reap what you sow. Now, if you've been on this earth for a little while, you probably heard that a million times, especially from the older folks. But the thing is, if you really think about it, it's kind of legit. It's kind of true. And the reason why I feel it's true, one, by just living my life and seeing stuff the way systems and the laws work of this world. But it's funny how, to me, because me and B was talking about this before, how godly systems and godly laws is always stolen by the world.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they use the same systems that's in the Bible, but they just label it different. Just like an older person or someone who reads the Bible might say, you reap what you sow, but somebody else would say it's karma.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you hear somebody else, they say, oh, Mother Earth and energy and all that. At the end of the day, it's like, you can name it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, it's still the same system. Don't you think so?
Yeah, it is the same. And so I don't know if sometimes, the world comes up with their systems to kind of discredit, God's systems. I'm not sure. Or like you said, to pull from that, or just like I have to be different from, a person of faith, so I'm going to give it another word maybe. But either way, like you said, it is pretty much the same thing, whether it be karma or reaping what you sow. Anything that you do, you'll get it back.
Pretty much. Do you now, with your experience, do you believe that's a true statement, that you get what you put in, or that you reap what you sow?
I absolutely believe you get what you put in. I am on a good note. I'm waiting on some things to come back, But a lot of times when we sow the bad things, we're not really wanting those things to come back upon us. But it's just the same, that if you're sowing good or if you're sowing evil, you're gonna get either one of those things back. And so it's important to be conscious of what you're doing on a daily basis. What are you saying to others, or how are you treating others, or all of that. It is going to find its way back to you, and that's just a God law. It is what it is. Like, I don't think there's any way around it. I'm thankful for God's grace and mercy that he kind of softens the blow on some things, but it's still going to come back around.
Well, the reason why I think it's part of God's system, because God's system is pretty much sowing and reaping the harvest of what you sow. So when you sow, you're sowing a seed. And what people don't realize, that there's different forms of seed. A seed could be a decision. A seed could be words. Your words can be seeds. And pretty much what you say to people, or your decisions that you decide, or what you put out there, it's going to come back at the end of the day. So that's why, like, me personally, maybe not in my past, but definitely now, I try to be mindful on what I say to people, or a decision that I make in my life, because I know it's going to reap some kind of harvest, pretty much what I planted.
And I was thinking on, or just how you just said, the different things, that different ways that you could sow. It's not necessarily a money thing. I could give you $1 million, but my heart is wicked. Then, the way that I sold it, then I still could receive it back that way. You may not be aware of how I gave it to you or how I felt towards you when I gave it. But the fact is, God is aware. And so, with that said, it's only going to come back in the way that you do it as well. I was thinking about, which is kind of off topic, but it's kind of part of the topic. I was thinking about respect. And so, like children, or even us in the South, we may say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. But I say, respect is not in the words, it's in the action. So I may say, yes, ma'am, no, no, ma'am, or whatever on my job. And, oh, she sounds respectful. But every time the boss is telling you to do something, you're giving them flack, but you still come with the yes, ma'am, no, ma'am stuff as if you're being respectful. Respect is really not in words, it's in action. So when you're sowing, the action, the way that you're doing it is important too. So when you say you're mindful, I mean, it's important to be mindful, because if a guy asks me for $1 outside of the dollar store or whatever, I may give him the $1, but it may be the way that I sold it that just kills that.
You're right, because I mean, it's like you said, it starts with the heart, because let's use the money form of it. The same dollar bill that could be in the collection plate at church can be at the strip club the night before. So it just depends on the heart of the person, or how, even what we said before, how money is a tool. Mm-hmm. So it depends on that person and that individual, what their heart is and what they're sowing with that tool.
You're absolutely right. And that's why I think about in the Bible how it talks about giving begrudgingly. Or why would you may as well not even give it, because he knows how it's being. You may as well just keep it to yourself, because you're not going to get anything from that. So if you're giving just to get at the same time, likely you won't get anything. But if you're giving something from your heart, not expecting anything back, then it may multiply to no ends, that some way that you didn't even expect it.
I know another seed that a lot of people don't talk about is time. The way you sow your time could be considered a seed, because just like these videos that we do, most of them are on YouTube, but the same way you can spend time to watch this, or you could watch TD Jakes, or you could watch Ron Carpenter, all these great preachers and stuff with positive content. You choose which how you would put your time to be looking at different material. But that same time, you can be on YouTube watching a whole lot of other foolishness.
I love that you even said that, because even if it just from a worldly concept, you sow your time into learning anything, or a skill or trade or whatever, you will reap from that, because you took your time and you spent time and you devoted it to learning something or to bettering yourself. This is just plain and simple. Put in your time into something that is going to help to better you. Put in even your money with the right heart towards something that, do unto others as how you would have them do to you. All of these things are something that reflect who you are, is what I believe. Because if I can look at someone and say, okay, you need this, and think about myself when I give it to you, because I know, what if I needed that? Then I'm going to do unto you as if it's me. Exactly. That's what I would do. And also my time. I want myself to be better, so I'm going to spend it wisely. Another, which I don't know if you had something else to say on that.
No, you go ahead.
Another way that I was listening to a minister a couple of months ago, and he was talking about reaping and sowing. And another way that I wasn't aware of is to sow in tears. And I was like, sowing in tears? What? That didn't say like if you sow in tears, then you reap in joy. Well, who would think, what I'm saying, that sowing in tears would allow you to reap in joy? Well, I never heard that, but
I've never heard of that either.
It is in the Bible, because I have been going and
Wow.
check that out myself. But that's amazing too, because a lot of times we think that, oh, that God isn't near, he doesn't hear us, he doesn't see what we're going through, but he is close to the brokenhearted, and he is hearing and seeing everything that you're going through. And he said that you will reap in joy. So it's really no shame in, being heartbroken sometimes, or feeling down and out, and, feeling like you want to cry, or seeing somebody else's situation and being brought to tears because of their situation. There's no shame in that, because he said you will reap in joy. You
I'm
crying?
crying. I'm hoping I get some reap something right now. Because you taught me something new. I like we said, we on unadulterated. We don't know everything, so we're always constantly learning. So Bianca just taught me something new just now. I never heard that one.
Yeah, and when at the time that I did hear it, I was actually having one of those tears moments, and so it was kind of like ironic to me. But I think it's amazing that a lot of times people look upon other people and say, "Well, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why she always crying? Whatever." Like, she needs to come out of that. But sometimes God gives people a heart for certain things, and so they feel it and they cry. Or sometimes people go through hard situations. Naturally, you cry, but it's okay, because he said you'll reap in joy. So I'm looking for those joyous times to come for myself, because I've sold a lot of tears myself.
See, we all have it, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's very encouraging, because it just shows you that we got a God that's not wasteful. Like, he don't waste no situation. Like,
never thought about that either.
It's like, you thinking this is a waste, you may be thinking like this is the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it's like he can turn what you thought was a waste, or I'm wasting my tears on that situation, or this situation, or this person don't deserve my tears, or I lost this opportunity, this don't deserve that. But like, he's willing to meet you where you at in that low place and still work it to your benefit. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I didn't even think about him not being a wasteful God, because, just like you water a seed, that's what those tears are doing, because, something's going to come from that seed. And so it's just the same thing as him. His word just continues. It never disproves itself. It always proves itself. Him saying that he works all things together for our good. He does. Even your tears. Like, yeah, and he doesn't miss anything, because it's like you could be, when you're reading, if you read the word, when you're reading, you recognize that, oh, he covered that too. It's like nothing that wasn't covered in his word concerning you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's encouraging right there. Like, that wasn't planned right there. No. Not that we plan most of our videos, but that was nice right there. That was a good point.
Really? Well, maybe come up with another way. What else can we sow? So we talked about money, of course, tears, actions. We could sow in love.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And that's the most important, because he said above all these things, he wants you to love. And that's who God is. He's love, and because he lives in us, and that's what we should be displaying too. So a lot of times you be mistreated or met with adversity all the time, somebody feel away, whatever. We still show love, because that's what God gives us, and that's what he demonstrates towards us. So, man, it's hard, but you still show love.
That's true, because I know they said love never fails. So it's funny how you say you can sow love, because that's true. Because I remember once I got in a situation where I guess I cut the guy off by mistake. Say I'm in a big truck. It could happen. I got a lot of blind spots. So I guess we ran up into each other at the rest area, and the guy started cussing me out.
Oh no.
And I was like fighting it. Like, y'all see this New York? My New Yorker wanted to come out so bad. I wanted to cuss this guy out. But I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. So what I did was, I just was like, oh, my bad, bro. I didn't see you, forgive me if I did that. And that's not what I wanted to do. Believe me. But again, like you said, you show love. I said, well, I didn't see you. I'm sorry about that. And it's amazing how the whole situation flipped, because he went from screaming at me to like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You know what? I just realized you are a truck driver and you probably didn't see me and blah, blah, blah. We went from him screaming at me to us leaving the store and holding the door for each other. And like, you have a safe trip down the road. But you see how like
that's
someone loves.
And it could be immediately that you experience that reaping of what you're giving out. So you experience that immediately, that the person changed. And I've actually witnessed that. Sometimes it's not as fast, but I've witnessed where the person makes an immediate turnaround. But just you can sow in love. You can also sow in hate.
And what?
And hate. What do you do when?
Oh yeah, I done did that plenty of times in my past.
I don't know about that. I won't admit nothing. I mean, I'm really not a hating person. Seriously, I'm not.
I wouldn't say hate, but I said some hateful things in my day. So
yeah, you and it's just the same thing. Yeah, nobody's exempt from that. So you'll get it back just the same. And so you said some hateful things, and then it's come to you just the same. I'm sure, right?
Oh yes, it did. Trust me, it did. Yeah. It wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm. And I have had a time when I said, I would never be like so-and-so. I would never do that and turn out doing the exact same thing. And so it's just like, you be careful of the things that you're speaking. You're going to reap what you sow. So, I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up for me, because just to be mindful that what you're giving out is something that you're going to get back. And then not to grow weary in well-doing, because in due season, you shall reap.
But it's funny. I remember that story. Oh, I think the disciples were talking to Jesus and they was asking him, like, if there was just one rule you would pick out of all these rules in the Bible, which one would it be? And it was he pretty much in a nutshell said, treat your neighbor how you would want to be treated. So, I mean, if you could just follow that one golden rule, that would just like pretty much take care of all of that.
Yeah, it does pretty much map out your life. And I do want to say that, like I said, everything that we talk about, it's never easy. These are not easy topics. But hopefully as you continue to practice it, then it gets easier, or it comes less, I don't know, I don't have the word, but it's just easier for you to do. And I wanted to say that, I don't know, I'm just feeling like, it gets discouraging when you don't get the return that you expect immediately. But also, like I said, just to remind yourself of what his word says, that not to grow weary in well-doing, because in due season we will reap. So not to go ahead of God that way and just try to make your own way, because the way that you make it is the way that it's gonna come. So if I say, okay, I'm not making enough money, let me just go and sell some drugs. Then, if I'm sowing in that manner, or doing something illegal or whatever, then, that will come back on me too. I mean, a lot of people can contest to that.
I mean, anything that has instant gratification is not good, because I mean, the whole reaping and sowing, that whole idea, if you can use a worldly term, would be like farming. Mm-hmm. A farmer doesn't put out seeds and expect to reap the harvest of his seeds and all that right then and there. It's a process. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's the same thing with our lives. Like life is a process. We want everything now, and it's tough.
I love that you said that, because when you talked about the farmer, a farmer, if he doesn't plant any seeds, is he looking to reap something? What about when you're sowing nothing?
Yeah.
Should you, this harvest time, should you look to receive?
That's a good point.
No farmer that anyone knows is looking to reap or to harvest anything that they didn't plant. They put the work in and they planted the seeds, and now they're ready to, now it should be ripened for them to be able to receive, everything, the seeds that they planted.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You making me feel a little bit like question myself. Why these areas is not working the way? Maybe I ain't been planting right, or I ain't been planting where I should be, in that particular area that I want to progress in my life.
So I do want to say that maybe an individual or myself or whoever isn't planning at all, or like you said, you're not planning right. Because actually a child of mine, we were doing an assignment just a minute ago about planting seeds, and it was actually about local farmers. And so basically the fact that they were asking a question is, why is it that some people can't have a local harvest, or why wouldn't it thrive? And it was saying that basically, or the point that it was trying to prove, is that some climates and some areas can't cultivate those seeds. And so if it's wintertime where I live all the time and I'm planting these seeds that will not grow, then it's pointless, right? So like you said, when you mentioned about maybe planting in the wrong areas, well, this is where the confusion comes, because we want to ask God, like, hey, where should I be planting? Or give us some discernment to know where will these seeds reap a good harvest, what you have for us and what you designated for us, because otherwise the seeds go to waste. It's in the wrong climate and we're wasting them. And you said just earlier that God doesn't waste anything. Well, of course he doesn't, but we have to seek him for guidance and to get some discernment on when to plant, where to plant, how to plant.
You was really talking to your kid about that?
Definitely.
You can't tell me that wasn't an accident. You can't tell me.
Accident, but that's amazing, because I mean, literally just today.
That, see, that ain't an accident.
Our point, Sam, how our conversations is crazy, because it always happens like that, right?
that ain't no accident.
It always happens like that. And that's a point I never even, did you ever think?
Nope, absolutely
not.
Like
even now, thank all glory to God, thank God that even now, it was just him. I didn't even, he brought it all together.
But I think we summed it up pretty good, right?
Yeah, he's leaving us speechless, ain't he?
I'm just saying, we give the people a little sneak peek of how it works, man. Not saying that we all that and that we know what we're doing.
Nothing to do with that. But when we are seeking God for guidance and him to give us, some direction, he really does do that. And it doesn't have to be, it really doesn't have to be that we're praying 19 hours to get that. It's just being in constant communication with him and commune with him, and him knowing your heart that you are after what he desires for you. And so he'll give you some guidance. He'll give you some words when you need them, when you don't know what to say and you don't know what to do. He'll do that. But it's kind of us, we need to be able to yield to that.
You're right. And I just feel like I want to say this real quick. What y'all saw right there, if there's anybody who's watching this to need any encouragement or to make a next move, just trust God. Because at the end of the day, when we do these videos, do we know what to say, Bianca?
Never. Like, before we hit record, we're blank. But, we trust God. We ask God to give us the words, and he does.
Just take that leap. Whatever it is you got in your life right now, take the leap.
Yeah, because we're not acting, no individual, if you ever think that you're going to be able to do something, act on your own strength, just be ready to be tired out. Be ready to be burnt out, because it's nothing you can really do in your own strength. Even the outcome of that, you can't guarantee. So you really got to be able to lean on him and be weak, because actually being weak is a necessity to be able to lean on him, because only in our weakness is he made strong. So go ahead and surrender that to him and trust him and see what he does with it.
Absolutely. That wasn't even part of the video, but we appreciate that lesson that God's showing us, and we ain't taking credit for it. Mm-hmm. So we thank y'all for tuning in tonight. say like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. Give us some topics you want to talk about. And again, we're looking for people to join in. How many guests we had so far? Just one?
We've had one. We've had a few people who we've spoken with about being guests, and we're looking forward to that. Just when the timing lines up. So we're really excited about it. Still looking forward. If anybody wants to be a guest and kind of discuss a topic, we are open to that. And so if you would like to, please just go ahead and email us at unadulteratedU@gmail.com, and we will review that and, likely cover your topic, hopefully. And also, if you could just go ahead and share this video. If you liked the content, that would be great. We would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, we appreciate you sticking through.
Say, we check y'all later.